I'm Chris Turner, and this is the Empowered Parent Podcast. Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Empowered Parent Podcast. Joining me, as always, are Ryan and Kayla North. Hi, guys.
Hey, Chris.
Hello, Christopher.
Well, we have something very important coming up very soon. Tapestry Conference.
Woohoo!
It is October 18th and 19th in Irving, Texas, at Irving Bible Church. And we wanted to let everyone know what's going to be happening.
That's correct. Some of my favorite events. What's this, like number 14? 13?
13. This is our 13th.
Lucky number 13 for all you superstitious folks out there. It's a really great event. It was one of the first adoption and foster care conferences. It's where a lot of people got to know Karen Purvis and meet her for the first time. I think it was like maybe some of her first like keynote and main stage appearance stuff after the Connected Child came out. And over the years, we've had some really, really great people at the event. Kurt Thompson, Jane and David Schooler, Tina Bryson.
Tina Bryson, yeah.
Yes, Tina Bryson, who we have confirmed will come on the podcast. We just now have to sync calendars.
Yay.
Yes.
She's awesome.
No, I love the conference. I mean, we first started going to the conference as attendees. We were just struggling, adoptive foster parents going, help, give me, right? And then it was like a few years into that when we finally were like feeling settled and we said, okay, well, now we get a chance to give back. And so we started speaking at the event. Gosh, back in 2012, I think.
I don't know. It was our first speaking invite.
Yeah.
And if we want to, just for giggles, we can put a link to it in the show notes. But I'm probably going to vote against that because I think I weighed like 50 pounds more than I do today.
Yeah, I don't think we did that great, but No,
I don't think so either, but it was the first time we spoke at a conference. It was the first time we spoke together. I like actually going and looking at it every now and then because it reminds me of your growth as a speaker, because back then it was, I will only speak if you're standing right next to me.
Yeah.
And now, she's like, I guess we can speak together if you want.
Well, that was the conference where we had a 6-week-old baby. And so I had somebody literally holding her in like the back of the room so that I could speak for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we probably got like 2 hours of sleep that night. So, it was probably not our most engaging,
But it was honest.
We talked about, I think we did education that year, right? We talked about
it was titled
system.
Adopted, but it was adopt-ed.
Oh, ED. Yeah.
Nice.
Because at the time, you were a third grade classroom teacher and I was working in admin for a private Christian school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy.
Well, we have somebody talking this year on like IEPs and 504s and stuff like that. That's something we get questions about all the time. And because we homeschool, I was in public school for a little bit as far as from a teacher's perspective, but I don't really know enough about what goes on and what you can ask for. And so we've got somebody who works in a school district as a counselor that's able to kind of help walk people through kind of what you can ask for, what kind of accommodations, modifications you can ask for and stuff. So I'm excited because I think that's going to be a really good session.
Yeah. So for everybody listening, they should know that we sat down and we spoke for a while about what we wanted to talk about, and meandering down memory lane personally was not
on the
list of things we were going to talk about.
It was
That's okay.
Not. Well, Chris is going to speak for the first time this year. We should talk about that too.
Sure. We can talk about that.
But before we get to that, Chris making his breakout session debut at Tapestry Conference, will be getting his hat trick in hosting duties this year.
Well,
this is true.
Yeah. He's going to be our MC again along with another MC, Mary Wells.
Yay.
So we're going to have the duo up there. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So just fair warning.
Yeah.
If you're coming, Mary Wells, she can be creative in the crazy department. I'm just saying, great sense of humor.
Yes, she does. She's pretty funny.
Yeah, so I'm very intrigued by how these MC hosting duties are going to between her and Chris.
I'm very much looking forward to our planning sessions.
Yes, y'all are going to have a little too much fun, I'm afraid.
Well, you've already denied me the T-shirt cannon, so I can't have that much fun.
I know. T-shirt cannon would be really fun, but it sounds dangerous.
I feel like you'd have to get like an additional insurance rider for that.
Yeah, you might.
You can dial back the pressure. You can dial it back.
We're going to get a T-shirt slingshot.
A slingshot.
I know, we're going to have the
like
slingshot.
they do at the baseball games.
Yeah, it'll be good. We'll still get T-shirts into the audience.
I know teenage boys that can handle that thing.
Yes.
It's not doing other things as
Yes.
they normally are wanting to do at the conference.
Yes, no, that'll be fun.
So Kayla, as the executive director of Tapestry.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah. So I don't mean to like jump in on like question duty over here, but what are you like? Some of the things that you are looking forward to this year.
Well, I'm really excited that we are doing something new this year. Because being the 13th year, every year we try and think of something maybe slightly different, slightly. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, and it's going well, so that we don't have to change it up a whole lot. But one of the things that we're doing this year is we're going to have coaching tables. So families are going to be able to sign up, or professionals sign up, to basically get to sit at a round table with an expert. So our keynote speakers, or our featured speakers, I should say, and some of our other breakout speakers as well. And they're going to get to sit and just have a conversation. So instead of your traditional breakout session, you're going to get to sit where it's just you and it's just this expert and like 6 people. So it'll be kind of fun. I think we've done those at other conferences where, you and I have been the experts at the table. But it's the first time at Tapestry Conference. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah.
And I like the setup at Irving Bible, where those will actually be like in private rooms and not just tables in the middle of a big room. So that's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah. It's going to be that's going to be a really neat, feature this year. So
I'm looking forward to seeing Tara Vanderwood again.
Yes.
Who her and I decided we were personality twins. So whenever we see her at events when we're traveling, we always have the best time together and just laugh and laugh and laugh. And so she's been with us before, and certainly are excited about the privilege of having Tara come back and speak with us again.
Yeah, she talked about embracing adoption's loss and grief, and helping your adopted children through that process a couple of years ago, and it went over really well. Like, we got all kinds of positive feedback about it. I got to sit in on that session for a little bit.
Yeah.
And came away with, some good advice.
Oh my goodness. I first heard her do that session at another conference, and I came up to her afterwards and I said, so I don't know if you know who I am, but I loved the session, and I have a conference in October, and this was like in May. And I was like, I have a conference in October, and I'd love for you to come and do the same exact session. And she said, of course I know who you are. I listen to your podcast, and I tell people about your podcast all the time. And I was like, yay. Okay. Thanks, Tara. Good. So would you come to our conference? And she goes, yeah, send me the information. And she came a couple of years ago to Tapestry Conference, and it's a really hard topic, and it's really not necessarily something everybody's going to pick because it's heavy, but she does such a good job of making it not just like, you don't walk away going, gosh, this is so heavy. I can't bear the weight of it.
It's a good balance that she brings.
She does. She brings a really good balance, and she has such a unique perspective because she is not only an adoptee, she's also an adoptive parent.
Right.
And she's also worked as a professional in the adoption world. So she's worked with families as a social worker. And so I think she just brings a unique perspective. That's why we brought her as a featured speaker this year, because we wanted to hear more from her, because she does have such a unique voice in this world. So I'm super excited about having her back this year and to do that session plus some other great sessions she's going to have.
Yeah, because I think she's the good confluence of shooting it straight, but kind of wrapping enough some humor around it. And I think the other thing, though, is that sometimes, like, if you just like shoot stuff straight, people go, nobody can be that blunt. that must just be charming.
Right.
And so hence the we're personality twins comment from her. Yeah, she's fantastic. Just absolutely love her. And we'd be remiss not to mention one of the other featured speakers there, and that is the always lovely and delightful Cindy Lee.
She's one of our favorites.
Who we've had on this podcast multiple times.
Yeah, I think we have several episodes with Cindy on there. Yeah. So we talk about her books a lot because she's got books, and she's actually just recently she wrote oh gosh, I should have pulled it up in front of me, but she wrote a Bible study
called Anchored.
Yeah, it is, and it's so she gave me a copy of it, and I haven't gotten a chance to go through the whole thing, but I've kind of flipped through it, and I'm just excited that she's writing more things and getting more resources out there, and so she's definitely, one of our favorites. The reviews of her sessions are always so good because even though she's not an adoptive parent, which hands down, people who have that lived experience always get such good reviews as far as conference speakers, but she is definitely one of those speakers that even though she doesn't have the lived experience as an adoptive parent, she has so much wisdom and so much insight from just the families that she has mentored and walked alongside of. And so I love just kind of what she brings to the table. And she just puts it on a level that everybody understands. And so I love hearing from her. I always learn something new when I listen to her.
I was thinking about Cindy 2 days ago because I was cleaning out a box in one of the bedrooms at the house, and lo and behold, there's our copy of The Elephant with Small Ears that I've been wondering, where are these books that I keep missing? Where have the children gone off with them now? And somehow, it ended up in this box, and there we go. Yeah,
and a little known fact, maybe it is a well-known fact, and I just think it's a little known fact, but she also illustrates those books.
Yeah, all but one, I think.
The first one, somebody else illustrated.
She had somebody illustrate one of them.
All the rest of them, she illustrated, and so that's a pretty neat trick because I can write words, but I cannot draw pictures. So if you had to have a book illustrated by Ryan North, it would be 4 sentences on a page, and then stick figures.
Yes. Well, and we did an episode with her where she kind of talked about her books
a
few years ago. Yeah, so we can have to link to that in the show notes too, because that was a good episode if you're interested in her books or if you've ever read them.
Well, and while we're talking about people speaking at the event, I think the young man to my right should tell us just a little bit about what he's got going on at this event, other than hosting duties.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you calling me young.
Well, it's late.
So I was talking with our mutual friend Jake Shornick with Entrusted Houston.
That's right. And our dear friend Lisa Johnson down there, who, by the way, I know she'll listen to this. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Lisa's husband, Rodney, got his pilot's license yesterday.
Oh,
awesome.
Fun.
Yep.
That's really cool.
That's cool, yeah.
I await a flight with Rodney.
Yeah, they're tons of fun.
Maybe
they can fly up from Houston.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
So Jake and I share a common career in that we are both stay-at-home dads.
Yeah.
And his children are much younger than mine currently are. And we just got to talking about kind of our shared experience doing that, and got hit upon the idea of doing a breakout session based around play for dads, since that's sometimes something that doesn't come naturally to dads.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to be talking about playing with your kids.
Awesome.
I love that because play is, we've talked about it before on here, but it's one of those parenting tools that people don't think of as a parenting tool.
Right.
And so it's one of those things that really and truly, it's such an easy tool, but it's not really easy for a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start actually getting into the habit of using play as a parenting tool, it really is it diffuses so many things.
Yep.
And I was watching Ryan today. I was pretty frustrated with my children. I wasn't doing so well. But Ryan, the great thing is that the two of us do a pretty good job of not both being really frustrated with the kids at the same time. So at least if I'm having a day where I'm like super frustrated, he can still be playful and, engage the kids and kind of look at me like, seriously, stop, you're fueling the fire. Today he may have actually said those words. He didn't just look at me.
And just to be sure, this is the first time I've heard that I did a good job.
You did a great job.
No, I'm just saying.
Congrats.
Yeah, because when I suggested that maybe you would throw gasoline on the fire.
I may have rolled my eyes and huffed a little.
I think you're giving yourself a little bit of a pass by saying you may have just rolled your eyes. But yeah, it was obvious that was not the right thing. So I'm actually sitting here at the end of the table, really interested to hear about how I did a good job in all of this.
He's really glad that this is being recorded. So
for prosperity.
There's always a record.
I'm saving this into 3 cloud drives, my hard drive, and a portable hard drive.
And a backup just in case you need to pull it out one day and
3
say,
backups.
I don't remember what exactly you did, but it was one of those things where you were just playful. We were doing chores, and nobody likes chores, and the house is a total disaster, and we're trying to get the kids to just, put away your laundry, or just little things, that have to be done so that there's not laundry all over the living room.
Right.
And so several of them were having a challenging time, and there were just moments where,
That's right. We have so many kids. She can use the word several.
I can use the word several. And they were just doing these just frustrating. And I think mostly because there were so many things that needed to get done, and I was having to kind of like nag them to do their chores. And so I wasn't able to do the things that I needed to get done.
Right.
And so I was getting really frustrated, and Ryan just seemed to keep his cool. And he's like, okay, come check in with me. And he was just being like, his tone was playful. He was, just, I don't know. I can't even think of a specific example, but I mean, I was just like,
our youngest was struggling with her laundry.
Yeah.
And I said, just come check in with me. And she'd come. I'm like, how's it going? It's bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, then sit here by me for just a minute, have some water. And then she did. Then she went back. She came back like 10 minutes later. How's it going? It's okay. And then she gave me a hug and she went off. So by doing the check-in thing, I think it just gave her a target to aim for.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, it's very kind of you to say those things. But I think that the most valuable thing that parents need is to be able to be creative when the moment requires it.
Yeah.
Right. And some people may remember the name Zinedine Zidane, who the French soccer player who famously got sent off in a World Cup final for headbutting a dude in the chest.
Ooh,
but
that sounds painful.
Yeah, and he's a coach at Real Madrid now. But I remember watching, and he's highly regarded in the history of the game. And I remember they asked him, what made you so great? And he talked about his creativity under pressure is probably what made him a great player, is being able to be creative when the pressure mounted. And I think that parenting is a lot like running a midfield of a professional soccer team, that if you're not creative under pressure, you're really going to struggle. That should be a Tapestry Conference.
Creative under pressure.
Under pressure.
I like it.
I don't think we can get the licensing for that song.
I'm like, is that a copyright violation?
Oh, yeah, definitely so.
No, what
just
I just
now?
did.
Oh, no.
It's not
you're probably
enough.
okay.
That's an homage, let's just say. And so.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you should bring in something else up so we can move on from my really poor David Bowie impersonation.
Well, since you're on the topic of music, we have a great worship leader this year.
Yes, I'm super excited.
Oh, hold on. Before, did you not have great worship last year? Because I remember playing guitar in the worship band, Christopher Turner.
Yes, we did have great worship last year as well.
You didn't have to say that. It was a lot of fun, though, last year, because I played guitar, and our daughter Tori sang with the worship leaders last year, so it was a lot of fun to get to do that with her. But there's no repeat this year, because we got
Ross and Stacy King.
Yes.
That's right.
Now, little known fact, Ross King had a song, now I don't remember which song it was, recently that beat out Baby Shark.
Oh, thank God.
It topped like the kids' music charts on iTunes.
It topped the kids' music chart on iTunes. So Ross and Stacy homeschool their kids.
So Ross King, the man that he may not have killed the baby shark, but he at least did put it in a chokehold.
He did put it in a chokehold.
And we're all grateful.
We were so thankful. It was hilarious. So they homeschool their kids and they do classical conversations. And so he writes a lot of songs to go with the CC material.
Right.
A lot of memory work songs, right? So he does a lot of like Bible verses that are word for word Bible. So they're based on a verse, but they're word for word. So they're not just like the chorus is part of it or anything like that. So he does some of those. And so it may have been one of those Bible verse songs. I can't remember. He's also got multiplication songs. So, if you guys are looking for some cool songs, look him up on iTunes. But yeah, he did recently. He beat out Baby Shark on the iTunes album, and it was pretty cool.
I think we should title this episode the EPP team plug all their ministry friends on the show because I'm about to do another one here. We actually, the three of us and Chris's wife Kelly, so I guess the four of us then, went to the Sparrow Fund's marriage retreat together called, and we got to speak at that this year, and it was a lot of fun. And registration opens up in like October or something, and it fills up within like hours or something. So it is really, really a fantastic event. Well, Ross and Stacy were doing worship at that event, and so we got to meet them a little bit. And I think you got a story about Saturday night after everything was done. I don't know if it's relevant here or not, but what is relevant is that Chris and Kayla and Ross and Stacy were on the same flight coming home to Dallas, and we were on the next flight to Dallas out of Philadelphia. And they had a mechanical delay, and we had a mechanical delay, so we all ended up sitting for like an hour, hanging out and just chatting at the
airport,
at the gate in the airport. And at the event, he debuted his newest single. So that was a nice privilege to get to hear it before it saw the light of day. The Things That I'm Afraid Of, is that what it's called?
That is correct.
Oh my gosh, I love that song. And so, our kids who some of them who really struggle with anxiety, it's become their song. And we went to family camp in Colorado in August at Horn Creek with our friends at Sky Ranch. Remember I said it's Plug Our Ministry Friends episode. We just had that song on repeat, and we must have listened about 10 times in a row, and the kids all sing along. I Walked Through the Valley of Shadows, and It Scared Me Half to Death is like the start of it. And the last line of the chorus is, the things that I'm afraid of are afraid of you. Which is just, I don't know, man. That's like Lennon and McCartney songwriting over there. I think it's just such a great song. So we're glad that Ross and Stacy are going to be here. They're adoptive parents, and they I think they grew up locally, right? They're from Dallas Fort Worth originally.
Somewhere in the area, yes.
They have family in the area for sure.
But just really, really great worship leaders. And he's also going to be doing like a session at lunch, right?
Yeah, so he's going to do a breakout session. He has personally struggled with anxiety and depression, and he speaks about that at churches. And so I asked him if he would just share. He actually, I believe, plays through his song, Things That I'm Afraid Of, and kind of talks through the song. And so I'm excited. I think it's going to be a neat session. So it'll be kind of a fun lunch breakout, eat your lunch, listen to him sing, and kind of talk through his story of, just his own personal struggle with anxiety and depression. Because, we have a lot of kids that struggle with that. A lot of the parents listening to this probably
a lot of parents too
struggle with that as well. And so I think it'll be really relevant and lots of fun for us to kind of, join him in that journey and kind of see where God has taken him on that journey.
Fantastic. Love them. Could not endorse the Kings more if we tried.
Yeah.
So, are there anything else you guys are excited about, or do you want to kind of tie a bow on this thing? Hey, okay, so it sounds like we're tying a bow on this thing. So I just slid a piece of paper across the table to Kayla and said, podcast listener discount and code.
Yes.
And so now for the big reveal.
Yes.
We'll put this in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put this in the show notes. But if you want to sign up for Tapestry Conference, you go to tapestryconference.org. And there will be a button on there that says register, and you can put in the code Empowered Parent, and you'll get 10% off your registration.
There you go.
So that'll be for all of our podcast listeners, and of course, feel free to share it with friends or share the podcast episode, and then they'll get it when they
that's right
listen. So yeah, super excited.
That's a great way to tell them, hey, I got a discount for you to.
But you got to listen to this episode to get it.
Yes.
It's figuring what it is. That is really good.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, so while we're talking about sharing the podcast, which we do appreciate everybody who shares it, and thank you for that. It's a privilege to have a platform and to have an audience, and so we really do appreciate that. But when people join the podcast group on Facebook, there's one of the questions is, what's your favorite episode? And recently somebody said all the episodes where Chris begs for questions on Twitter.
We got some questions on Twitter, didn't we?
And I didn't bring them with me.
Oh, we did get some questions on Twitter. Or maybe we just got some mentions on Twitter. I don't know if were they actual questions?
Yeah. We'll have
you can tell I don't use Twitter.
We'll have to bring
do
those
another
up
episode.
in a non-conference promotion episode.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
So if you have questions for us and you'd like to send them to us on Twitter, hit us up at One Big Happy Home. If you require a little bit more room, you can always email to us, info@onebighappyhome.com. And as Ryan mentioned, we have a Facebook group just for our podcast listeners. Search for the Empowered Parent Podcast Community. You can subscribe to our podcast in iTunes, the Google Play Store, and on Spotify. Just search for the Empowered Parent Podcast. If you've enjoyed and gotten value from our show, we would appreciate a review in any of these locations. The Empowered Parent Podcast is committed to helping parents of foster and adopted kids through connecting, correcting, and empowering principles. Thanks for listening.